Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to my review for Neighbors, which is a brand new film starring Seth Rogen and Zac Efron, and of course it is brought to you by the guy that did Get Him to the Greek and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, two movies I really like. He did a couple other movies I'm forgetting right now, which I also did like if I remember correctly, but I was really looking forward to this. I mean, first of all, the trailers looked hilarious. I was already on a Seth Rogen high because, of course, This Is the End was great. It was one of my favorite comedies of that year. Actually, probably of the last few years. I watched that so many times. It's so fun, so funny. I loved it. And, of course, the early reviews for this movie have been excellent. So I was looking forward to it. Did it live up to expectations? Let's talk about the story. The story for Neighbors follows a relatively young couple, maybe in their late 20s, early 30s, played by, of course, Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne, who just had a baby, and they're trying to figure out how to do this parent stuff and whatever. But hey, at least they have a quiet neighborhood. Until, of course, guess who moves right next door? A fraternity. And of course, if you don't know what a frat or a fraternity is, it's pretty much a group of loud, obnoxious, muscle-bound douchebags. And well, that's not always what it is, but sometimes there's some fat people too. But in this movie, they're all muscular, really good-looking, and extremely loud when they get the party. And of course, Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne, they just had a new baby. They can't deal with that, so they go over there on day one, right when they move in. They're not even done moving all the stuff in before Rose Byrne and Seth Rogen go over there to tell them to be quiet. And Zac Efron, of course, is the leader there, and he's just like, hey, you know what? We're cool guys. Hey, if you have a problem with us being loud, you come over to me first. Don't call the cops. Just come over to me. Tell me we're being loud, and I'll keep it down. And of course, something happens later on where Seth Rogen actually does call the cops anonymously, and they get found out. And of course, Zac Efron's like, no, this means war. So it's pretty much the Neighbors, the frat, versus Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne, and how they're going to humiliate each other and, you know, whatever. So, you know the plot of this movie. It's a pretty simple plot, and it's really, I wouldn't say clever, but I haven't seen a plot like this before ever. Like a fraternity versus just a regular neighborhood. I mean, sure, we've seen movies with fraternities where regular people would come and the fraternities had to maybe like shoo them off, or maybe it was the opposite way, but we've never seen a whole movie where that was the premise. That was the entire premise. And I really enjoyed it. I really did, especially since there's actually some damn good character development here, especially with Dave Franco and Zac Efron's characters, which feel like they could have been in their own movie as the two main stars. It actually reminded me a lot of how they did the relationship between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum in 21 Jump Street. I really liked that in this film. They were both really good in this. And I'm very surprised to say that about Zac Efron, who I wouldn't say I've ever hated, but I never thought he was a great actor. I thought he was okay in that awkward moment. I thought he was actually pretty good. But I thought he was great in this, especially when he was with Dave Franco. He was just really likable. I thought he was great. And of course, you know, he's that. So I don't believe that. I mean, I do believe that, but hey, you know what, Zach? I'm not like that. Okay, we could be friends, but I'm not gonna swing that way. Okay, you're a cool dude. Call me. So also Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne are great, especially Rose Byrne. Rose Byrne surprised me, even though I've seen her in a few other comedies here and there, like Get Him to the Greek and what was that? The Internship, and there was something else. Bridesmaids. I thought she was funny in those movies. But she's really hilarious here. She's completely unhinged. She is really just manic. Sometimes a little bit more crazy than Seth Rogen is. And I really liked her in this. She's really funny. One of the funniest female, I won't even say comedian. I don't even think she's a comedian, really. She's just a funny girl. And of course, she's extremely hot. So, I mean, I could never see Insidious or any other movie where she plays a parent ever again without thinking of this movie, especially one scene that involves milk. I'll just say that. I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the story of this. But, of course, the movie itself is a comedy. Did I think it was funny? Well, I'll tell you in a second. Neighbors not only has some damn good character development, so a really good story, some great acting from everybody, a very surprising turn from Zac Efron, but it also is extreme, and Rose Byrne, by the way, I almost forgot that, but it's extremely funny. This movie starts off a little slow, I will admit. I was laughing, but I wasn't laughing like real hard like I thought it was. But then later on, when it was the the frat versus the regular people. When it turned into that, and it was just like pranks and pranks, just thrown back and forth, I thought it was extremely funny. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. There was just so many great lines and great little gags, like sight gags. It was just really, really funny, and I really liked everybody in this film, and pretty much every joke really worked. Even the ones in the beginning, like I said, it wasn't making me laugh hard, but it was still making me laugh. But I wasn't laughing like I thought I would be laughing until later on. It started to really pick up, and it was so freaking funny. Pretty much throughout the rest of the movie, I would say about 30 minutes into it, the next hour and 10 minutes is extremely funny. And also, it has a great ending. It has a really good ending that actually fits very well in a movie like this. You know, I've seen plenty of comedies where it just ends just like on a whimper, even though they could have ended on such a much higher note. This one ends on that high note that I always like to see even a comedy end on. I really, really enjoyed it. So if I had any problems with this film, I didn't really love. There's a side character in this, Jimmy, who is the friend of Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne, and also his wife. I felt they were funny, but not used that well. Also, I felt that Jimmy the character was a little bit he was a little bit odd, and they didn't really explore that too much. I would have loved to see just more scenes of him just being extremely odd and very, very just uncomfortable to be with. I don't know. He was a very odd person. If you see this movie, you know what I'm talking about. He was very odd. So anyway, he's odd looking. I mean, you just look at him. I mean, he looks like me. I'm odd. Call me Zach. So anyway, that's my review. I really enjoyed it. That wasn't even really a complaint. It's just I really would have liked to see more of him just being odd and crazy. But I don't really have any complaints though. I'm gonna give this a 36 out of 40. Same score I gave Spider-Man. I don't know. It's a great film. I really enjoyed this movie. You should definitely go check it out. It's a lot of fun, very funny, and hell, it's not 2.5 hours long or whatever. It's like an hour and 35 minutes or something like that. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So definitely go check out Neighbors. I really enjoyed it. Thank you and goodbye.